Thank you very much for joining us once again for the SMUD Home Performance Program update for June. We're about halfway through the year. I know all of you are very busy with your heat wave that you're dealing with right now. I appreciate the time and effort that you took to come visit with us. We'd like to make it worth your while. We have a lot of interesting upgrades that we've done to the program for this quarter. I hope you like them. And just want to let you know that whenever we send out like the surveys and whatnot, you honestly respond like most of them did. We hear that, and that's what helps, 3 months later to get some things updated. So that's kind of where we're at. So what we're going to do today, talk about a few things. We've got the whole team pretty much is here from SMUD. So I'm Jim Mills. Robbie Patel is the planner who just left the room. Most of you know him. We're also joined by our administrator team, which is Efficiency First California, and their subcontractor, BKI. So most of you that have worked with BKI probably have worked with Rebecca Brown. And then Mo, you've worked with him a lot through the Efficiency First. He's the guy that does the inspections and whatnot. That's Mo. We got Scott Fable back there who works with Rebecca and helps to design this program. We've got Chris Cohn, who's pretty much the manager of the Efficiency First, and the director, Ori Sloot. That's it, right? Nice. It's Sloot. Okay. Now, how's this speaker work now? I keep hearing myself up and down. It's really funky to me, too. I don't know what I can do about it. I don't personally think I need it, but they said on the video for those contractors who don't make it, they can watch it on the Efficiency First website. And they said that it's really hard to hear the volume, so that's why I'm wearing it today. How do I do that? There you go. Thank you. All right, so let's go ahead and kick into the presentation. So most of you in the room have been involved with this since probably 2010. You started coming to these meetings when we were doing the grant, the stimulus grant and whatnot. And since then, we've taken care of 1,810 homes through the Home Performance Program, which is a small feat. That's pretty good. We're going to be over 2,000 by the end of the year. Today we're going to talk about a couple new measures that we're adding into our program, which we think are pretty exciting. We're going to increase the attic air sealing insulation rebate per your suggestions from that survey. We're also wanting to reinforce the fact that we have this electrically heated home market that is a very viable source of business for you. We want to try to help get you guys' sales moving, and we're a little slow for this year, but we're gonna do better. This is kind of a chart from where we were year to date in 2013, and 2013 ended at 379 homes done for 374, excuse me. Finished in 2013, which was really a great year, opposed to the 129 we did the year before. So the recession had lightened up a little bit, and people had this pent-up energy, and your phones obviously were ringing, and you guys were out there driving the nails and getting the job done. Now this year's looking a little bad. We're not seeing nearly the numbers that we did, which makes this projection pretty low by the end of 2014. So, obviously, being the program manager of this concerns me greatly, and I would like to sort of open it up at this point to try to find out what it is that's making these bars so low for 2014. I can't believe that it's our program. I don't want to believe that, because I think our program is very generous in our rebates. I know our financing is right up there, if not better than most, but I'd like to get some feedback from everybody. Anybody have any idea why? I know right now, June, most of you are just busy changing out emergency air conditioning. I get that. I don't like it. I wish you'd continue on with home performance, but I understand. But what about all these months? What's going on? Why are we? Is it just your phone's not ringing, or you're not interested? Don't have the manpower? Anybody volunteer anything?
Phone's not ringing.
Phone's not ringing. Okay.
As your advertising, your basic message to the homeowners about what's available has decreased quite a bit last year, then.
It has. It's picked back up recently, which the timing is rather bad. Of course, from our perspective, we want to get the message out during the time when people are most likely to do this. But I'm getting feedback from contractors that they don't have time to do insulation and duct replacement and home performance when they can just go out and knock out boxes, right, like left and right. So, David?
So on the downturn, are you finding your top, 5 or so contractors, is that also trending down, or have they maintained consistency?
One of them's climbing. He's actually doing better than he did the year before. The other one is sort of peaked, sort of not really climbing that much, but still doing quite a bit, but not as much. And then all the rest of them are just doing very little, 3 or 4 jobs.
So if you're relying a lot on HVAC contractors, it could be that a lot of them have gone through their customers and gone back to their customer bases already. And now what you're seeing is just what they're doing is selling their new contacts, so they've already gone back to their old ones and picked those up. And the other thing is that just the cost to generate the leads. That phone's not ringing. Well, that's because it costs a lot of money to generate the actual lead.
Okay, that's fair enough. But I'd like some honest feedback. Is your phone ringing, and you're not really answering it for home performance because you just don't have time? Anybody?
Well, you're just going to put the cost of doing the test in. Okay, you guys are paying us $150 to do that, and that's a losing proposition. So rather than just go out and search out the home performance stuff, we're offering as an option to people who do sign with us. So I have a customer who signed with us because I'm not going to make a $800 investment in labor, time, and materials to go out and do a test in, and we only recoup $150.
Okay.
So if we had more initiative again on the test in portion of it,
okay,
then that would help.
All right. I think we're making strides to what you're leading to. I think we are in an effort to try to come closer to what you're asking, which is my next slide. So thank you, Bob. Let me jump into the new measure. Okay, I will get to what Bob's talking about. All right, anybody ever heard of a thing called mini split? Anybody install those on a regular basis? All right, now, if you wish to, you can install those as a measure under the home performance program only. So anybody that wants to put one in, we're doing $250 with a max of 4 heads. You can, of course, put more heads in if that's what the house needs, but this is what we're going to max the rebate at, $1,000. There's the requirements. We're pretty excited about this. We think that this actually fits a nice little niche in the market. So I'm hoping that those of you that are aware of mini splits should be pretty tickled pink right now, because now you can offer this as part of the home performance package. And I think you're going to have extremely happy customers if you do so. It is strictly home performance at this time. We are in the process of trying to open this up to what we call our standalone rebate program, like the regular air conditioning program. But the one thing that some of you may have figured out here, nothing really happens fast as SMUD. It takes time. There's an enormous amount of stuff we have to do and line up the ducts that need to be in rows before things happen. But because the home performance program is pretty quick and able to do things relatively fast, thanks to the excellent efforts of the team, we are able to do this. Now, that's going to only be $200 for the standalone program, but you're probably still, we're going to miss the summer. I'm going to be honest. We're going to miss the summer for your standalone, but one of the things that those of you that are really closely paying attention to may have noticed is that every time SMUD has anything to do with rebates, we always make it better to be a home performance contractor than a standalone contractor. There's a perfect example right there. $50 more for it. So I hope that that helps. Now, just to sweeten the pot a little bit more, those of you who routinely put in these things, if you've done one since then and you're able to get your customer to go ahead and go back and do the HPP measures, the insulation, if they have an existing duct system, that still needs to be sealed because they're still going to be probably maybe using their central heat, and even if not, it actually acts as a hole in the house, so we want that sealed. So the normal HPP stuff, and we're going to go ahead and we'll we'll add the mini split into whatever rebate the new job develops. So I'm thinking maybe that's worth a few phone calls. Anybody that's done those? All of a sudden you get some money back. There's a little bit of more detail, a lot more detail on that, on how to do it. And this you can look back if you, or contact Rebecca if you have any questions on that. So another second new measure that I'm excited about because I live and die by mine is the whole house fan. SMUD has had a whole house fan rebate for a long time of $100. Well, lots of people are putting in these whole house fans. Those of you with the BPI experience are probably churning right now thinking, how can we do this under home performance? Well, it is true. I mean, BPI doesn't believe in whole house fans, but BPI is based in New York, where I'm not so sure that they're as viable as they are here. And since I live and die by mine, I'm totally behind this measure. The only thing I would suggest is maybe you do work in some form of winter sealing, some way.
There are companies that make R38 covered whole house fan.
Excellent.
Might would you consider giving a larger rebate, but they are more expensive. Giving a larger rebate, if we can seal in R38,
But we'll take that into consideration. Okay. So
The new whole house fans are not like that.
there are new whole house fans that are not like that. I agree.
Not even close, and they're incredibly way more energy efficient. And the grill is smaller, and the actual motor itself is suspended, and it already has dampers on it, and you don't lose near the energy.
We didn't have a picture of that, Dave, so we're using this picture the most folks can relate. If you guys want to install that other kind that he's talking about, by all means, this is our. It's just got to be moved more than 1,000 cubic feet per minute. That should be pretty easy, and I hope you guys can get out there and knock that out. We didn't talk about it, but Dave met with me this morning. Sometimes they put multiples in a house. I'm okay with that. We can do multiples, but we didn't think about that in advance because most people just put one in, but Dave said he's got 3. That's the rules.
I can see how a big house would be now.
Yeah. So, okay. Anybody excited about that besides me? Yeah. Well, all right.
Hey, Jim.
Yes, sir.
I put 3 in my house. One because if I shut my door, I wouldn't have any airflow from it, right? But I put mine in June of 2012, and my bill in that month, same amount of days, I saved $143 over the year before.
Nice.
By putting in unbelievable difference. I haven't ran my air conditioning this year at all.
Oh, fantastic. Your house is comfortable, obviously.
Very much so.
Right on. So you saved $140-something in PG&E territory, right?
But I have friends who have the whole house fan without doing all of the other measures, not even close to being as efficient.
Okay. Great. So you should be a company that will be all over this, right? And doing all the rest of the HTTP stuff. Right on. Okay, so during our survey that most of you responded to, one of the things that rattled my cage was you guys were talking about that the attic insulation rebates still not quite enough. We were at $60 per 100 square feet, so we bumped it up for the tier 1. You remove the original insulation, seal the floor of the attic, and put in new R38, where we bumped that to 100. So it's 100 for 100. It's pretty easy to remember. Hopefully that will help you sell a few more jobs. So that's an increase. Rebecca has stuff here. What do we got?
Yeah, we can skip that.
Oh, we can skip that.
I can revisit it.
Okay. All right. So this isn't new. This is what we've done previously. But we did double the HVAC and envelope rebates for the electric heated houses. So I think this is pretty interesting. Those of you that are, sort of making an effort to market in the right areas, we're seeing a huge increase in the all-electric customers, which of course, being SMUD, we know that they're our bread and butter, and they like us, and they want us to, help them. And I think we are. So you can see we're doing pretty darn good. And I just encourage you to continue working in the electric heated areas, which we're going to go over in this presentation, but we did already provide you with a really killer map that should help focus that area. This is, I found interesting. So this number right here is an average of what we're paying for an all-electric rebate. If you take the ones with gas, the average PG&E rebate is about $1,254. So when you add $1,254 to that, it still comes in about $600 less than what we're doing for our electric homes. So that's a huge rebate that we are paying. It's extremely generous, and I think that there's a good chunk of the market out there, Gold River, for example, areas in the Pocket, and Rancho Marietta, that would really be fertile ground to work for, to get some more jobs like that. All right, we threw this on here too, because we're not getting very many home performance contractors installing heat pump water heaters, but for the electric customer, the heat pump water heater is just a gold mine. It's a fairly easy install. We have a $1,000 rebate for it, which is huge. We have a standalone program also that's doing a $1,000 rebate, and we decided that was one of those cases where HPP wasn't better than our standalone, so we brought that up for this presentation in this meeting. So anybody that has an electric water heater out there, get a $1,000 rebate. Now, we're going to carry the $1,000 on through home performance, but it's dropping down to $800 for the standalone at the end of July. So if you're so inclined to install water heaters and not do all the rest of the HPP stuff, remember that you can do that and get an $800 rebate for your customer after July 31st, or $1,000 if you do it before then. So just wanted to make sure that you realize that is available, and I would love to see these under HPP. Okay. So this is kind of getting to what Bob was talking about. It's a little bit confusing on one hand, and the idea here is that in 2011, when we started this federal grant stimulus stuff, part of it was to stimulate the economy, and SMUD was picking up $400 of each audit to go out and do it. So you guys agreed that you would do it for $400. Well, now we're back to ratepayer money paying for that assessment fee of $150. We've kind of gotten to the point where we've really had this question, is this a valuable use of the ratepayers' money? Is it a valuable cost to them, to the customer, to pay $250 plus up to $400 for an energy audit? We've done this work so long, and like I talk to people on the phone all day long, and right over the phone I can tell them whether they are a good candidate for HPP or not. I think most of you could go into the house, look at the house, look at the equipment, poke your head up into the area, look at the ducts. Without doing a full test in, you would have a 99% chance of knowing whether that's a good job or not. And we make this as an option. So we're changing the way we're doing things. you can still do an energy audit at the beginning before you're in contract, like you've been doing. We piloted this with 3 contractors, and honestly, we had mixed reviews. So it was inconclusive whether this is a good thing or not, but that's why we're making it an option. So I want to be completely clear. You can still status quo it, go do $150. You get $150 from me, do an energy audit the way you've been doing it. Or you can just have one of your sales force go out and maybe do like a pre-walkthrough, and they decide whether the customer A is really viable, B, they're really needed, and if so, then you can hopefully get them into contract using what we call the default numbers for the house. And in a weird way, we're trusting you guys. So, I mean, I'm not, if the blower door, the duct blaster, if those numbers, we have enough evidence now that we feel pretty comfortable that the ducts are leaking 30%. So to charge somebody $250 to say you're leaking 28% or 34% just doesn't have that much value. Okay, so we're okay. You use the default values so that you can write up a bid so you can know what the estimated rebate's going to be. That's perfectly fine and good. The thing that is a little weird is that if you go into contract, you still have to do a test in. We do have to have test in numbers, not only us, but PG&E also. I forgot to mention Torsten, I'm so sorry. Torsten's here for PG&E. So you still need a test in for the PG&E work, and you need it for us specifically for the CAFTA loan. That requires a full test in. So you're doing the combustion safety work, you're doing the duct blaster, the blower door. The difference is you're already in contract. You already know that this customer is a viable customer. So there has to be some questions on that, right?
Very good comment.
Okay.
One of the things I think that's hurting this industry is that the general public doesn't understand the difference between that walkthrough and a whole house energy audit. They think they're all the same. And they think they're getting twin plan, to be honest with you. When people tell you they're going to charge you, like me, I charge anywhere from $600 to $800 for the whole house audit. And when they sign up for it, they're very comfortable. Once it's done and they see what you go through to do a whole house audit, I've never had buyer's remorse. Never. But getting them to give you that $800 it's tough because there's so many people that say, "Well, do it for free," or "Do it for $100," or it's like they don't understand the difference between those two. And I think the more we go to just walking through a house and tell them we need air conditioning, I honestly that's the wrong direction for the industry.
It could be, and you have a good point. Unfortunately, I don't really know. I can't make people on the other side of that fence are saying, "Why am I having? I know I need a new air conditioner. I know my ducts have been eaten by rats, and I have 3 inches of insulation. Why do I have to spend $250 to have that proved?" Okay, that's what I get back all the time. So it goes both ways, and I hear you though. I'll be probably tell there's not a real clean cut answer here. This is again our attempt to try to make the program better, and that's what we're doing, trying to make it less barriers for your customers. Hopefully you'll close more deals, or at least you won't waste, like Bob was saying, 8 hours of manpower, whatever it was, to do that work and not get the sale. So I think it's going to help you, but please, if not, you gotta let me know and we'll rethink it. Okay.
It's obviously not working. The numbers right now, what we're doing right now is not working. And if we're going to move the masses, I agree with this.
Okay, thank you. The program is working, but not working as well as we'd like. And there's so many pieces of it. I don't know how big of a part this plays, but...
Yeah, Jim. So with the pilot, PG&E has 2 programs, and the HEP and then they're made. So what we were discovering, it's better once we use the pilot edge to give the rebate information to the homeowner with the pricing. it was better for us to do the full audit once we were in contract, because the PG&E rebate in most cases went up. So we had the latitude of going back to homeowners and say, guess what, we're getting you even better, more money. So at the end of the day, the cost to do the step number 2, as opposed to the modest subsidy of $150, it was a wash. And that's probably why you saw most of the ones coming from some of your contractors at full audits, because of that reason. Does that make sense?
Not really. Can you condense, what's the bottom line? Are you pro or con? I'm not with you.
No, it was a great angle to get in. You can give the information to the homeowner, get them rebate values, get them the cost of the project.
Okay.
But in order for us to move forward with the project, after we got the signature, I needed to do the blower door, duct glass, SARS. I might as well just do the whole audit, because on the PG&E side, my rebates would go from $1,500 to $2,500.
Well, when do you do that whole audit?
After I sign the contract.
After you sign contract.
Yeah.
You have a customer that's in.
So, well, what I'm saying is your information was incorrect on the amount of what's the word? Your pilot, because we converted most of those to full audits. So you didn't see the true number.
Yeah, but from what numbers I had given to me, Clark and Rush is one of the pilot contractors, and they did quite a few jobs during the pilot period, but I think only 5 of them were indicated that you had done it this way.
And that's what I'm trying to explain to you, because that's what happened. So the SMUD numbers were exact. We knew because of your menu. PG&E has 2 programs,
right.
Menu program and then your full. So a duct situation that had leakage of 40, 50%, the value went up with PG&E.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So we were discovering it was better once we went under contract to do the full audit, and then depending on how it came in. So the ones that came in favorable with the HEP program, you saw it as a pilot. All the other ones came through because PG&E was paying them.
Right.
Can I ask, at what point in that process would you have submitted the pre-retrofit JRT to me? At what point in that process would I have seen it?
Only when the information came back both ways, and we would determine and say, hey, I can get more money for going with the full audit. So basically, once I went under contract, I just did the full audit.
So everything I saw looked like a full audit, even if that's not how the...
But it was actually sold as a pilot.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay.
So if you took all the ones in that window, I'm speaking for most of them.
Well, Dwayne, did your company find this useful at all? Because you were also one of the pilot contractors for Broward Mechanical.
Right. We found the value of just keeping with the actual audit.
Yeah, okay. Right. So Broward found, and I think Comfort City was the other, not represented today, but they were the other pilot contractor. And I think they preferred to go ahead and just do the test stand for the customer, charge whatever they charge, and then give them a report. And at that point, and the feedback I got from Comfort City, which was valuable, was that way they know there's not a failure in the heat exchanger, so that they didn't have to come back after the fact when they did do a full test in, and find out that, oh, by the way, we have to raise your price because we have to change your heater now. Okay, so there is some value to that. But please take this with what it is. You have this as an option, whichever way works for you. The $150 is still on the table. I have no problem with that. Assessments have been kind of low, so I'm okay.
Question, did they
Yes.
get the 150 for step 1 or the step 2? The full diagnostic at step 2?
Because the numbers have been so low on assessments, I'm willing to just keep paying the $150 whenever you do the full test in, if you want to turn it in. I'm okay with that, because I mean that's already it's like a done deal. It's throwing a little bit of a kicker towards getting a job, and I need jobs. So yes, I will pay either way.
Wait, so they can't get the 150 for just doing the visual stuff?
No, there's no, just doing a walkthrough, I don't pay $150. But if they do go into contract and you do this whole thing, turn in the paperwork as you do, and I'll pay $150. Fair enough? Right on. All right. Okay, team, let's do it. All right. At this point, I'm going to...
In this process.
Any questions? Yes, Mark.
Yeah, just go back to your very first, your opening statement. There was a lot of advertising coming from SMUD on the $9,000. You had your neighborhood programs where contractors were going out, reaching out to those neighborhoods and doing seminars or whatever. There's a lot more involvement with contractors advertising. And I believe that directly correlates to what's happening today. So there's less coming from the utility, less coming from the contractor.
Right. So the three words, federal stimulus program. we were basically mandated to spend money. All that advertising is expensive. We've spent a fortune on it. The neighborhood approach had its ups and downs, and granted, but we poured a ton of manpower into that. We just don't have that now. It's all ratepayer money, so we're trying to spread it out over all of our programs to the best of our ability. And quite frankly, I can't do it all for you, honestly. I need you guys to do what you can do to advertise for home performance. I am trying to get more out there, but it's a little disheartening because we just did a big mass mailer and all the bills and all the cool rebates, and my phone's blowing up. I'm getting calls every day. Lots of them. But then I'm finding and hearing contractors who historically have done a lot of work are saying, I don't have the time, I don't have the manpower to do full HVP right now. It's going to be 90 days before we get to it. Well, that customer is you're going to lose that customer. Somebody else in the room is going to get a phone call after that. They're going to get the customer. But, it's awkward and it's a little disheartening. So, please do whatever you can to help, and hopefully we can get through this year and have it be another successful year. Anything else? Okay. There'll be opportunity if you think of something. All right, so next we're going to have Rebecca come up and give a presentation on some stuff.
And I'm an interrupter, so if you have questions, just interrupt. I support interrupting.
I want to go back real quickly to one of the slides Jim showed that was maybe a little dense, because I'm a little dense. So what this is saying is that if your home has an electric heater to begin with, you can't do a cooling-only rebate. You can't do a rebate for just upgrading the outdoor unit in a cooling system. So for the condenser only. You have to also get it up to an 8.5 or split 8.0 for packaged HSPF heat pump. That's always been the rule, but the change is that the JRT now reflects that. So if you selected the pre-upgrade heater type is electric, it'll zero out those cooling-only rebates. I just wanted to make that clear because the JRT is a little different. That wasn't reflected in my JRT update for Friday, but I did post an update today, and so I asked folks to keep that rule in mind. Even if you're not using the updated JRT, just remember that we're going to make sure that that's implemented. The other thing I wanted to mention that Jim did not mention already is that this rebate is $500 per indoor head if your home starts off with an electric heater. It'll end with electric heater too. But it's a HVAC measure that helps save on winter heating energy, so the rebate measure is double if the home has an electric heater. I'm really excited about the work we've done to improve the rebates for homes with electric heaters. I think that's a very big market. You'll see in your packet there's some maps showing where those neighborhoods are. One of those is the Pocket, which is historically pretty good density of projects, fairly high-income group. Everybody go out and pound that pavement. The other cool thing is that if the home not necessarily has an electric heater, but is all electric, then you're not spending money on CAS testing.
Hey, Rebecca, just go ahead and lose the mic. It's going up and down.
Yeah, I'm loud.
Just speak a little louder. Here, thank you.
So my unpleasant job is to mention what's what the contractors and their fantastic people could be doing better. I want to lead the conversation off by saying that the quality of the work we've been receiving has been, for the most part, with very few exceptions, extremely stellar. You guys are getting it, and especially my high-volume contractors and contractors who work with sort of professional paperwork people. It's been extremely successful, very little need for back and forth, very little need for revisions. Usually when things aren't going well, it's because there's a new staff member who just needs to be trained up. And I love working with new people, and I have a teammate back in BKI in Oakland right now named Michael, who's also helping me work with contractors to get them, contractor implementers who are uploading subdivision to get them trained up, and so that we're not wasting your time with back and forth. But here are some examples of things that tend to hold a project up on the pre-retrofit review side or the post-retrofit review side. But this is out of date. That should say $100 per 100 square feet. I wrote this before we made that change. Just keep an eye out for, make sure that the info on the menu tab matches the info on the job info tab. So if you're saying you're going to reuse the insulation, don't pick the tier 1 attic insulation rebate, because that means that you will be replacing it. So just make sure that stuff adds up. For the most part, I've built the JRT to catch those discrepancies, but I haven't programmed all of them in there. Again, make sure the information matches up for, these are examples and you can read them off the website. Make sure that the final duct leakage is, I should say, less than or equal to 8%. Oh, here's an example of a problem. Yeah. Don't give me a post that has duct leakage over 8% or air sealing that doesn't meet the target unless there is a good reason for it. And go ahead and start that conversation with me. But don't just submit something that has 10% duct leakage and expect to get a rebate without a little bit of explanation. Give me actual measured numbers for pre and post. It's okay if this is an estimate, but if I see 800 here, chances are that's not an actual measured number. We want to see the actual measured numbers, and that's A, because you should be doing the test anyway, and B, because if you're doing financing, they want to see real numbers. They legally require the real numbers, not just estimates of those diagnostics. If your home has knee walls or 2 or more floors, measure the attic floor area directly. A common problem I see is that, okay, the attic floor area, the total floor area of the home is 2,000 feet. The attic floor area is also 2,000 feet, but it's a 2-story home. That's a really interesting home. Maybe people live under the crawl space. But basically, make sure that you're measuring it directly rather than just reusing that total floor area. That's also a problem with knee walls I get a lot. And I have some pictures showing why most of the time it's impossible for the attic floor area to equal the total home area if the home has a knee wall. There is an exception, and I made a little diagram of that. But this is the attic floor area. This is the total home area. Those are not equal. This is the attic floor area in blue. Total home area in purple. Not equal. So if the home has knee walls, there's a damn good chance that the attic floor area is less than the total floor area. Why does it matter? Because the rebate values are contingent upon the amount of attic floor area you're upgrading, and we can't spend ratepayer money on upgrades that didn't actually happen. So we're pretty particular about spending rebate money. Here's an example of where the attic floor area would equal the total home area, even though there's a knee wall. And this is fairly rare, but it's possible. So if you're going to submit something that has the knee wall area being the same as the attic floor area equals the total home area, and there's a knee wall, I don't know what you would call this. Reference this picture, and I'll know what you're talking about, and that way I won't send it back to you for question. Can I calculate the attic floor area by subtracting the knee wall area from the total home area? No. This is actually something that I've gotten sometimes when people are a little new to the process. I know before being part of this program, I've never been in an attic. So it's been in the last 3 years that I've really understood how attics work. But anyway, this is just a little diagram to show you that unless your attic, or unless your roof line is at a 45-degree pitch, this knee wall area is not simply going to be this minus this. It's usually going to be smaller. Again, the reason it matters is because the rebate value is tied to that area, and we need to make sure that we're spending ratepayer money on legitimate upgrades. Deep buried duct photos, and I've titled this "The Good, the Bad, and the Incomplete." It turns out Jim Knowles has never seen the good and bad, the ugly. That really disappointed me. But just a refresher on the post-upgrade photos we need of the deep buried ducts. We want a view of the ducts before they're buried. That's the one we're usually missing. Basically, we want to see that they've been shortened and straightened so that there aren't unnecessary kinks. You're not spending extra area. Basically, the shortest distance between point A and point B is a straight line. If you're adding duct area, you're providing more opportunities for leaks, more surface area through which hot air escapes or hot air penetrates the cooling months. We want to see that they're shortened and straight. We want to see the vertical duct indicators so that people don't accidentally step on the ducts. And we want to see a cautionary duct sign again to prevent that safety issue. All 4 of those, not just your favorite 2 or 3, as people are going to see all 4. I'm going to attempt to be a little bit more stringent on that. Here's an example of things that are going very well. I think someone in the room will probably recognize his own photos. Actually, no. But these are very well done. Here are some views after they've been buried. We're not looking for Ansel Adams here. It doesn't have to be beautifully lit. It doesn't. We understand that, especially with the short focal lens, you're going to get some distortion. That's fine. You get flash, you get ugly stuff. It doesn't need to be gorgeous. It just needs to show us the information that we're looking for.
Can I get you to back up for just a second?
Yeah.
Slide back.
Yeah.
Why is the ruler? See what they've done to the ruler?
Oh, is it on the 2x4?
Yeah,
that's
they're cheating 2 inches, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, to be fair, 3.5. 3.5 inches since this is a vertical 2x4. Oh, you know what they did? They folded it.
Yeah. It's folded because it's the 2x4.
Yeah. See, yeah, it's cut. It's folded at the 3.5.
Just checking it.
Yeah. They thought ahead. Good job, Dan. Okay, I think these were Pump City photos. Again, some vertical duct indicators. I'm trying to show the diversity of, again, it doesn't need to look good. It doesn't need to look like it came off Better Homes and Gardens. It just needs to show us the information. Caution buried ducts. You can use the template. You don't have to. It's up to you. I haven't seen that little speech bubble on Van Cleve. These photos are less helpful to me. They're blurry. They're kind of not really showing me exactly what's going on. It doesn't show the accurate depth of the insulation relative to the rulers. The other thing is that this came with a batch of better pictures. So if you have 5 pictures and 4 of them are great, and the 5th one looks like this, you can keep that. I don't need it. But this was the bad, I think, right? The last thing is on your rebate applications and on the JRTs. I know that most people in this room have fun and make money by doing good field work. But in order to pay you for your good field work, you need to have good paperwork. It's not exciting. The companies that can have a designated person for that usually need an office, and that's a good model if you can afford it. If you can't, I love talking to people and helping them, and my coworker Mike does too. So, in order to help you get your rebate faster and help your customer get the rebate faster, if it's going straight to them, make sure that the actual SMUD account holder is listed in the JRT as where appropriate and is listed on the rebate application. If there's a mismatch between the name you give me and the name in SMUD's database, that slows things down. And I do rebate batches every 2 weeks. So if at the last minute I notice a mismatch, you got to wait until 2 weeks later before you get your money. And I know I don't like waiting 2 weeks for my money, so make sure that it's correct. Those are kind of the biggest things that I come across. But again, I want to cap this off by saying that the level of quality is very good, and I'm continually impressed, especially even when we have people who are kind of newer to the program, how hard people work to get it right, and 95% of the time they do.
Okay.
Any questions, especially about JRT stuff? I'm the evil genius behind the job reporting template. Any burning problems with that? Oh no, it's just the end.
Not a burning problem, but I would reiterate what Rebecca said is making sure those service IDs are correct on the initial submission is the bonus in terms of making your rebate process go smoothly.
Thanks, everyone.
Hey, thank you. Hey, Pam, I'm trying to figure out the next slide deck here. Can you come on up and give a brief update on the SMUD financing program?
Hi everyone, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Van Madison. I oversee the department that provides the financing for those of you that submit your home performance projects. And I'd just like to reiterate that our home performance program now has increased its maximum loan limit from $20,000 to $30,000. So I just wanted you to be aware of that. That will allow more opportunity for you to provide additional measures and retrofits for these homes that you're retrofitting. We are looking at including the mini splits, as Jim said, with the home performance program, and we're looking for ways to expand the measures all the time. So it looks like that our loan volume has increased. I want to thank you all for that as well. And one other thing too, I just want to touch on the scope of your job. Please be sure for those measures that you do install, itemize those and list them so that BKI can identify those in the job scope on their JRT. That way I can provide the financing for your need. So that was the only items I wanted to touch on. I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have any at the moment.
Just out of curiosity, is anybody finding any financing options that are better than where we're at? 5.5 for HPP or 6.99 for standalone? Do you have other options?
I know down south they have hero financing. I've heard that is a very plausible thing for customers to use.
Okay.
Is that through a private source or through utility?
It's on the list.
How about like the white green? Anybody using that? Is that working out okay or? No. It's not being used? It's not? Okay. There's some problems with that. Okay, just curious. Well, good. We want you to use our financing if at all possible. So great.
Yeah, please use it. 5.5% financing, maximum 10 years.
For how much? 30,000?
30,000.
Right on.
How much paperwork does the owner have to go through?
It's very limited because it's an unsecured program.
Oh, wow.
So you do have the application, you have the 3-day right of rescission financing agreement.
Is it a soft hit?
No, it's actually hard hit on the credit report. We pull the credit report, pull the property report, and that's it.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is there any chance of raising the term limit for 2 years?
There is a possibility of that. We've talked about a number of things that we can offer out there. Today, it's still going to remain 10 years, but we've talked about increasing that term. And there are specific. We're looking at increasing the types of measures. And if the life of the measure can be justified to go 15 years, then we are seriously looking at that. But right now,
I think that would make a big difference. So we use flash and Matadors, and they offer 6.99 for 15 years, higher interest rate. But what people care about is the fact that their monthly payment and their monthly payment is way lower in 15 years. So I think it would be more competitive option.
Right. Well, I'll take that in serious consideration and make a very good point.
Van told me one pretty interesting fun fact not too long ago, that of all of the HPP loans that we have done, we've had 0 defaults. So the people that do home performance seem to be the kind that pay their bills, which is great. Solid citizens. Yeah, solid citizens. So you do
And they're big savings.
That's right. I think there's a couple
Yeah.
Is it still a 720 credit score for that HP?
Actually, a very good question. It's at 680 for owner-occupied, and we have a little working room on that. So, for example, if you come in at 679, we have some working room. It's not a hard and fast FICO, but we do.
That's on the 5.5? The 5.5?
5.5%.
Oh, okay.
Support. Now, the 720 is for our non-owner-occupied property.
Okay.
Right.
And, Dan, did you want to mention, even though it's a 10-year term, customers tend to pay off the balance pretty quickly, right?
That is true. Our average life of loan right now is just a little bit over 4 years. They tend to pay them off. And what we've seen and experienced recently is with the increasing equities in people's properties, they're going out getting credit lines and paying us off quickly. Actually, maybe even achieving a little bit lower interest rate in the process. And of course, those products are adjustable mortgages, but it really gives customer flexibility.
Well, what if you have a customer that has both utility companies as far as in PG&E? Let's say they want to do Image Every California, but they also can have a little bit JRT help from the SMUD side. Would this be able to swallow the whole project, or would that only take care of the SMUD portion of the?
But we can do the whole project.
Yeah, all of Sacramento shares.
So
every project, we can finance the whole thing. Yes, Dennis.
Just one last question. On the HPP, since it's unsecured, the customer sells their house, do they necessarily have to pay off that loan?
Yes, you have to pay it off.
But it's unsecured, so how would you
It is
still
unsecured.
you would still be notified that the house has been sold? Okay, so if it's refinanced or sold, that loan does have to be paid off?
It needs to be retired, yes.
Okay.
Is there penalties for paying?
Overpayment. Absolutely.
Okay, thanks, man. Appreciate it. All right, so next we got Chris coming up. She wants to talk about your toolkit.
So we welcome everybody. Glad to be here today, and I just wanted to remind everyone that we prepared handouts for today, and these represent some of the key resources that are on the website. And as these have been developed, we've notified you about them, but we thought this today was a great opportunity to do a quick overview so that it's fresh in your mind what's available to you in terms of resources to support your sales process as well as your crews and their implementation in the field. So, as you know, the place to find all these resources I'll be talking about is the document library, which you can access from the home page of the contractor website there on the left-hand side, or right-hand side, I'm sorry. So these tools come in basically two focus groups. There's the homeowners fact sheets that are developed in consumer-friendly language to explain key measures and key concepts to help you with the consumer education process, and then the quick guides for contractors and crews that we are hoping will be valuable to you in the field or in the office, so that you have at your fingertips answers to questions that come up regarding our program and parameters that we have. So in your packet for the homeowner guides, we've included this list of measures, and I wanted to point out the money-saving household whole house fans and mini-split heat pump fact sheets are in there to support the new measures that we have.
And again, these are focused toward the homeowner to help you explain and to give validation to the explanation of the benefits of these measures, because the educational materials coming from SMUD and independent third party to support their sales process. So the first one I want to talk about is a fact sheet that walks through some examples of how the SMUD program and the PG&E home upgrade program can be integrated for an overall value to the customer. And so there's 5 examples here, and that's what they are. They are examples of how it works. But in fact, the process of integrating the 2 rebate programs can be applied to any project scope where you have measures that are within these 2 programs. So these don't represent set packages. They represent examples of how to think about leveraging the 2 rebate programs to add value to the project. So in this example, you see that we have a modestly priced project with some very basic measures. We go to the next example. There's been an upgrade in the attic insulation. There's been an upgrade, I believe, in the AC unit. And so that leads to an upgrade in the price. But for each one of these measures, you can see that there is an opportunity from both programs to provide an incentive value to the customer. And here's a sort of mid-range project, and we have 3 base measures from home upgrade. We have deep buried ducts added to this scenario. And again, each of these measures has a double value under the programs combined. And here we're adding, a deeper retrofit type project. We're adding new windows to it, and another furnace replacement. And again, adding a lot of value to the project, almost $5,500 or over $5,500 of rebates for a project of this type. And then finally, if you're really going for the gold and adding a pool pump, and there's 6 measures in there, which makes the project eligible for a kicker, you can see that the savings, the combined incentives can be significant on a project. So the team is very happy to answer any questions as you develop a project scope about how to work the 2 rebate programs for a combined value for your customer. But we wanted to make sure that this fact sheet is well understood and is a resource of ideas for you about how to leverage the 2 rebate programs together, because customers in Sacramento really have a lot of opportunity because of the combination of home upgrade and the SMUD program. A question?
Yes. Was it me or something?
No, you.
I just was curious, do you guys have like an Excel sheet that would help us make proposals? Because we have EUC rebates and you have SMUD rebates, and some measures are prorated depending if it's more gas or electric related. And so there's like there's a formula to do that, and I was just wondering, is there a more easier way to...
I haven't put that together yet. I would love to work with you and other contractors to develop a template for that. I could even put something together where you insert your logo. You would sit, and then it puts it out in a presentation-friendly format. So if I'll have to ask the holders of the purse strings, but I think that would be worthwhile.
That'd be great, because I want to get in trouble if I overshoot an estimate, and then I'm worried about how I'm going to get paid.
Yeah.
So that'd be great.
I love that idea. That's awesome.
Yeah, we'd be happy to do that, because this really is a great opportunity in this area, having the 2 programs working together. There's a lot of value there, so thank you for the excellent suggestion. We'll follow up on that. Any way we can make it easier for you to use these opportunities, we're open to the ideas. So moving on to some of the other information in the homeowner packet. I haven't highlighted everything, but just a few of the things that are in there that could be helpful in answering homeowner questions. there's a description of what a verification visit is. And so this is a way where you can explain it, but the homeowner can have more details they can go back and understand or read through later. So this is in there. All of this is PDF format, downloadable from the website. So it's ready for use. As I mentioned, key services, measures, ideas. So here's a consumer-friendly fact sheet on HVAC and the basics of what the system is and the opportunities for energy savings. Installation and thermal envelope. Again, an easy tool to express this idea to a customer and leave them with something that they can consult later when they're thinking about what they've learned. Air sealing and mechanical ventilation, another great consumer-friendly tool that you can leave with the consumer. Each of these fact sheets on the back side has a place where the company card can be stapled or attached so that your brand is on the fact sheet. But this is an opportunity to leave the customer with some good reading material to inspire them. And then frequently asked questions about the program. This actually would also be helpful for staff and crew if they are being asked questions by homeowners as they're interacting with them either during the sales process or on the project. So this is another good resource both for homeowners as well as contractors. Then you have a contractor packet as well, and this is all focused on tools more for the technical side and the implementation side. Now, Rebecca and Jim both mentioned the electric heated homes rebates and the resource of these hotspot maps, we call them. There are 4 maps. Each map identifies areas by a demographic criteria. So the one we're showing here has to do with the percentage of homes that have electric heating. But there's also a map that shows single-family owner-occupied homes through a range of vintage years, median income, and professional degrees. And in the course of programs being implemented across the country over several decades, these 4 demographic criteria have proven to be pretty good indicators that a household is a good candidate for this type of home improvement. So we have these available to you, and we hope that they are valuable in your marketing planning, and would like to get your feedback about how useful they are and ways that we can perhaps expand this effort to help with the targeting of marketing for the electrically heated homes. And then in terms of some of the, again, just a couple highlights from the list, but there's full instructions on deep buried ducts. This is something might be good to have in the folder in the truck at the job site, just in case you got a new crew member or somebody has a question they want a refresher, it's right there. We have a template for the deep buried ducts sign that can be customized to your company. There's asbestos information and full protocols about what to do when encountering asbestos. So those are just 3 examples from the website of materials that have been developed in large part in collaboration and conversation with you about questions that you've had that you wanted to have a good resource for. So I wanted to use this opportunity to remind you that there's quite a bit of information on the website, and invite you to come take a look at it and download whatever you might need for your office or your crews. So this is the homepage for the document library. If you want to download if you want to download the homeowner materials, you click on the homeowner tab there, and that will take you to the list of homeowner fact sheets. Yeah.
What if we want to take one of these documents and repurpose it? I mean, we do that with contractors. So I don't want to use this and then attach my business card to it, but I would like to use some of the language, I'd like to use the photo in my marketing collateral.
I think, I think we can accommodate that, and I would like to think about how we could give guidance on that, because sometimes we are referencing or taking materials from an original source, so we would need to provide some guidance on that, but it sounds like a good suggestion, and we'll follow up on that. Any other questions? So I just wanted to reiterate that, the HPP team here is really here to support your success. And we do that by answering technical questions, helping you take advantage of the value of the rebates, support your sales process in any way we can, and your feedback about if there is a way we can help you with that is very welcome. The development of the resources I just mentioned, if there are other topics that you think would be valuable to your business process, please let us know what they are. And as issues emerge in the marketplace and in the field, again, your input or alert to those issues would be very valuable to us so that we can respond and either solve problems or help you take advantage of opportunities. And I, at this point, just want to acknowledge Jim and Robbie, because they have made this program a real innovator and a real cutting-edge program, because they're constantly looking for new ways to bring value to your business growth process. And I just want to acknowledge that it's a real pleasure working with them, and they're forward thinking on this.
Well, thank you.
I would add, I know Jim mentioned that he said that SMUD moves slowly. Not really.
SMUD HPP moves pretty quickly.
Yes, SMUD HPP is all over it.
We have to pull in all of the IT things and all that stuff. Okay, any other questions for Chris? Thank you very much, Chris.
You're welcome.
Okay, who do we have next? Torsten. Okay. Torsten, you got yourself all the way up here.
It's a PDF.
I have it on Okay, well, next we're joined by Torsten Glidden from Building Green, and they're the administrator for the Energy Upgrade California, the PG&E program. So because we are so sharing the area, we find that it's helpful. We find it helpful that while you're here, you're taking time, you also hear the other side of the gas side of things. So, you all set? All set?
Thanks. Is it maybe just quick ahead?
Yeah, it is. Do you need a...
if you have a clicker.
You want that's my clicker, but
just a pointer.
You pointer? Sure. Sir. I can put it for you.
That's great. Thank you. So I met most of you here, but again, my name is Torsten Glidden with Building Green, implementers on the PG&E programs for Energy Upgrade California, home upgrade and advanced home upgrade. And, this mostly a high-level overview of what's coming. Some of you kind of heard some of it in different meetings that have been taking place. There'll be more details to come, but I thought I'd get started with what we know now. Go ahead. So Advanced Home Upgrade and Home Upgrade both have their own updates and questions at the end. So Advanced Home Upgrade, go ahead. We have pool pumps are now eligible as a selection for energy efficiency upgrade measure, and Advanced Home Upgrade is modelable in Energy Pro. We ran a couple of webinars on specifically how we expect to see that happen, and there are slides available on the document library on our website. Follow up with that more. We can also help walk anyone through it who is interested in providing that service within PG&E service territory. I see. If you're in SMUD territory, you guys have a couple bundles of pumps.
You guys would not cover both
Right, exactly. But anyone doing work outside Sacramento County, you'd be able to offer that to your clients as well. PG&E is currently requiring that it's either CAEI, which is a FIPSI trained certified aquatic equipment installer, or someone who's already on PG&E's approved pool pump installer for their single measure program, which usually is a CAEI. There's an older certification, but and any of those people you can link up with. They can be a subcontractor, or you can choose to provide the service yourself and get CAEI certified. And then, just the program obviously is limited to either you switching out from a primary single or two-speed pool pump to a variable speed pool pump. It's something that's in the CEC's database already, and it's for in-ground pools only. We've had questions in the past about jacuzzis. They are not eligible. Contractor incentive assignment is available now, so there's a form to fill out that you can download from the website and submit that with advanced home upgrade projects. If you want to have the rebate reassigned to you, the contractor, you need to have the account holder's signature, but it's simple that you submit it with the rest of the documentation. Go ahead. And then there's a change, as Chris alluded to earlier, coming to proposed incentive calculation for advanced home upgrade, which is that a disposition from the CPUC will be applied to the savings on both the electric side and the gas side, and it varies, that modifier varies by space conditioning type, so either heating and cooled home or heating only. They have different modifiers applied to them. They will be applied to the savings out of the Energy Pro model, and in order to sort of smooth that transition over a little bit, say these disposition modifiers are already being applied on the back end. PG&E is just taking the cut. Going to be up front going forward, but in order to smooth that transition over a little bit, they're going to add the per unit energy savings bonus of 75 cents per kilowatt hour, $2.27. So what comes out of the Energy Pro model, you get a modifier applied to it, but then you also get bonus in every case that there is savings reported out of Energy Pro. You get bonuses for kilowatt hours and therms saved. In the future, well, currently they have a cap, right? So it's up to $6,500 right now. But in the future, they're looking at potentially lifting that cap. So those that are the biggest consumers are incentivized to do more broad, deep, holistic upgrades.
So based on the incentives that they already receive, you then go calculate the total therms or kilowatt hours saved and add that to the
what gets reported out of Energy Pro now, it's modified and reduced slightly in every case except for a heating-only home on the electric side of the savings. That's a modifiers one, so there's no cut. But the savings zone in every other configuration is going to get adjusted slightly. But this is going to help smooth that transition over. But the cap on savings is lifted from $4,500 to $6,500. And in the future, they're looking at possibly
when did that take effect now?
This is coming. It's probably talking about August 1st, but I don't know dates yet. So it's coming down the pike, and we'll put out more comprehensive communication on it coming soon. We just want to make sure that we have all the details nailed down before we put out something.
And what's the estimated cap in the future?
They are talking about lifting it potentially. So altogether. So we'll see. I don't know. I can't guarantee that, but it is something very interesting. So, David.
I know that they're looking at other programs besides Energy Pro. How close is the state of getting those approved?
The software companies, you're talking about HPXML,
yes.
Which is something that API has been instrumental in working on the structure for that piece. we have taken and looked at it for California use because there's already tons of K4 related issues to deal with, TC related stuff. And we have a set of requirements for the software vendors right now. They're supposed to be delivering something to us, I think, by the end of July that we can then test and roll out to you guys shortly, hopefully thereafter. We're going to make sure what the output file, the HPXML file, produces the results we need to so we can assign this as to. So a little testing that goes on. My guess is that being able to actually use that is probably going to be sometime around the beginning of August. And that's fairly cautiously optimistic. Yes. Contractors will be able to test these as well, so they'll have input on the user.
Because you have an opinion, you'll speak up so we can.
Okay, so just a different opinion from a contractor opinion, just a little bit, and I think that's a perfectly legal answer. I'd say more realistic, don't expect it till the beginning of the year.
That is a real possibility.
That's all right. I was expecting it last year.
The cautious optimism is that everything that we test works out just right. Because they design these things with the intent to make it work right out of the gate. But the reality, when we test these things, there's always something that needs to be worked out, resolved with the interaction with these files, with everything else that we have in place. So multiple systems involved. Just takes time. Hopefully, that'll give everyone a chance to get used to the idea and start, working on their business model as well. There should be, along those lines, also there should be about, I think, 5 different software vendors are in maybe 3 in the long run, but there should be some choices. You should be left with something more than simply just MP Pro. Anyway, so on the home upgrade side, we have new measures that are coming into effect relatively soon. It's just a matter of making sure the IT processes can handle it, and the work paper on the state level still needs to get approved, but the points, as I understand it, are a done deal. So we're bringing you a preview of those points. It is possible, very unlikely, it could change, but again, this is what we think we have right now. So we have higher efficiency tiers with additional points for AC, gas furnace, and attic installation. There is a couple of new measures entirely. Gas wall heater and high efficiency windows measures are added. And then you can select measures from a work scope package in the online portal. As we now, the points will be there already for you. When you click on something, it'll accrue and automatically total. So, pretty seamless with the existing portal if you're already using it. Again, with home upgrade, you can also have the contractor receive the incentive. So you fill out the paperwork, click the button on who's the payee, and make sure it's signed by your parties. Next one. We're also working on rolling out a joint program with SoCal Gas in overlap areas. I know that not all of, and most of you probably don't go that far down the Central Valley, but I know a couple of you do. And so there will be a single point of application and document submission for those customers in overlap service territory, so they have electric, so-called gas. The incentive will no longer be prorated in that case, so they'll see the full amount come through in one check, and a single field verification process, so that if you see from us or PG&E's central inspection program will be that they get their for those who are sampled. The home upgrade eligibility reminders, I wanted to bring a few of these in. So the structure did not really change, just new measures and points have been added on. So you still have to install these 3 measures, including one base measure. The upgrades must total 100 points minimum to qualify. It goes up in $500 increments at every 50 points. And a couple things I wanted to reiterate and emphasize on as far as requirements for home upgrade in PG service territory. Selecting an equipment-based flex measure. So you have your one base measure, which is already required, which is either insulation and air sealing or duct sealing. If the next measure, if any of the next 2 measures are an equipment-based measure, so AC, furnace, water heater, the 3rd measure must be a non-equipment-based or flex measure. So more duct or air sealing or insulation. Okay? You can still have HVAC in its entirety, so AC and furnace on the same project, but then there would be a minimum of 4 measures in those cases. Does that make sense? The whole idea behind this is that it's not an HVAC change-out element program. And then equipment upgrades must be like for like. So at test-in, in order to be upgraded, it's got to be the same type of equipment, right? So it's got to be AC to AC. It's got to be gas furnace to gas furnace. It's got to be gas water heater, just a more efficient version of that for testing. They really don't want to incentivize fuel switching. They can't actually. So those were rejected. This is the new set of points. So as you can see, it's laid up to R44. Any climate zone, you get 65 points for that instead of the 55 for R30 or R38, depending on the climate zone. You got an additional gas furnace tier, so 70 points for 95 or better. You have an additional tier for air conditioning, that's 15 SEER or better. The year hadn't gotten clarified until I got here today, so I got the word when I was driving that it's 12.7 year. So you get 75 points for that. And FHC windows, solar gain coefficient 0.22 or less, U factor 0.28 or less, 75 points. And a gas wall heater, 70 AFU or better, 40 points. Questions on this?
I believe SMUD and Building Green has 2 different ways of looking at buried ducts. I was kind of wondering the difference.
I don't know that we have a different way of looking at buried ducts. Can you elaborate on what you think?
From what I understand, Building Green's perspective is that you have to blow an entire R50 all the way across the attic to achieve buried ducts. And I've done SMUD, and SMUD is 3.5 inches above.
We would defer to 3.5 inches above. I'm not sure where the R50 came in, although, in the higher likelihood it covered everything.
No, of course.
Are you sure on that?
I think
we got rejected on that issue.
I think in the past there have been, Energy Pro related clarifications that aren't really applicable here. So, it does depend on what the configuration of the attic is too. I think if we have a recent clarification that we're working on actually getting made public. It's something that Dave's been working on. It's Dave Magnuson at PG and has had to get stakeholder buy-in from all the other IOUs statewide, and it's a measures clarification document. And that's part of what got clarified in that is they're okay with that. 3.5 inches. Yes, we do listen and we do try to engineer better outcomes. I know that it's been rocky and difficult at times, but hopefully we're all heading in a better direction. And the continued feedback is always appreciated. It's part of what helps us make the case to PG and bring these changes to the fire.
Quick question. Is it possible if you use the attic insulation area zone to get a rebate from PG and from SMUD?
Yeah, that's right.
One of them addresses
It's not a double dipping issue for PG&E because they're a municipal utility district. They're not governed their own regulations.
Yeah. Same work, saves energy.
So if we've got a home performance customer, we need to go to Energy Locate California also.
Absolutely, you leave money on the table.
Not doing your customer a favor if you don't.
Because you're required to do all the same CAS testing, test out, Yeah.
Did you say the numbers on the windows are 2.2 on the solar heat gain and
yes.
2.8?
Yeah.
2.2 and 2.8. So are those lower numbers, Jim, than what you guys have?
Those are lower than SMUD's.
So, and this is brand new. This is from Thursday last week. So I don't know. You guys at some point there could be maybe some legal discussion about whether line or not. But
when does this go into effect?
We're looking at sometime in July, but it may not be till 2 August. So you guys can start looking at selling it, and the point should be pretty hard and fast very soon. We think they're not going to change. It's making sure that we can process the rebates with the new measures on the back end that we're looking at. Timing-wise. And then just a reiteration on testing requirements. So if you have duct sealings when your measures, you have to do a duct blaster test. If air sealing, then lower door, you do not have to do both. I'm not sure what you said there. But if you're doing HPP and home upgrade together, then of course you're going to do both. It's just an option, save a little time for certain contractors in certain situations. And then CAS test in and test out is always required, no exceptions. The only difference is that we don't have a pre-install submission process, so you only install post-installation, but we collect the test in and test out at that time. And the information should look legit, right? Make sure you're releasing everyone's their recordings to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, but we do take a look at that data and make sure it washes.
Is Village Green also looking into rebating wholehouse fans like SMUD is, or is that you guys are just...
There's been discussion of it, but it's, I mean, again, these things, we're just the middleman in some respects, we're implementer. This stuff gets decided at the statewide level. More input from you guys about how much demand you have for that kind of measure is always appreciated. They're building in the input and output capability in HPXML, so you will be able to model that.
Because I know Title 24 is going to require new homes come around, and well, retrofit people might want to maybe get a little bit of incentive too.
No, I mean, there are absolutely cases where it makes sense. Home upgrade, as it is, this set of deemed statewide points-based measures. You may not see it anytime real soon, but because it tends to affect certain time zones more than others. But it should be modelable, I think, in the investment.
Now, since you said the kilowatt and therm savings, Energy Pro doesn't really have a slot for wholehouse fans, but if it can be shown.
Energy Pro doesn't, but the software that's being worked on for HPXML output, so there are previous software vendors at least, that will have their own user interfaces similar to what you're familiar with as the input side of Energy Pro.
Yeah.
Which will probably not be BLD files, at least something with some other type of file. Those guys are all, in theory, can capture that data as long as the program accepts it. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it is one of the listed potentially modelable measures in our advanced electric program currently. So we check the program handbook. Okay, most of it in my head, but not all of it.
So it could be indirectly put in that way.
Yeah. The assessor's got to be PG&E advanced technical trained. That just means that there are additional augmented protocols that include some NGAP stuff that PG&E wants to see done on site. It's not much more than PG&E, and actually it's pretty close in alignment to the coming changes to BPI. Coming changes to BPI that we expect to see. I'm not sure exactly when, but sometime maybe this year or early next year. The same BPI, advanced technical training procedures for propane homes, for those of you who have customers out at foothills and so on. We expect all the same things to take place there. The caveat being that you don't have the luxury of calling it GSR for those fails. You become the responsible party, so get the correct plumber or HVAC technician out there to correct that, whoever that assessor is. Or in some cases, it might be the propane provider. They have some service to patch leak on the gas side because everyone can smell the gas leak on propane. Any questions on that? Next slide. And that's pretty much it. I included some other slides, but we didn't go through them because people are already participating in the program now and know what the portal looks like and how to submit a job. So it's just extra. If we forward to the end, though, we have some contact information. Keep going. This is all available on our document as well. One more. Website, so villagreenutility.org is our program portal with recorded webinars, documents, policies, programs, training dates, and the participant handbook is also on there. There have been some recent changes to that, and there will be more when the SoCal gas lineup happens. And then if you forward one more, contact information. We don't have a direct line for the customer service department, so if you need to send in a customer to validate some piece of information you told them, especially, but for your own edification, instead of having to go through the phone tree, you can call this number directly and get straight to a customer service rep for home upgrade, system upgrade, or AC2C actually, if you're anticipating AC quality care outside of SMUD territory. Some email addresses and appropriate departments. That's about it. Any questions? I'm sorry.
Is there a number? Because I know I get a number of phone calls after a rebate's issued.
Yeah.
When am I getting it? When am I getting it? Is there a number? That's the enrollment number?
Yeah,
okay.
They can, you know, in most cases they can track down some reasonable estimation of that. There are, there are parts of the process where they were not able to estimate yet. So it's been pretty recent, for the last couple of weeks, they're not going to know yet. But if it's beyond that, then they probably have some idea of where is the process, whether it's been sampled for field verification and that sort of thing.
Do you know your approximate times now for those rebates, approximately?
PG&E for a long time has been saying between 6 to 8 weeks, and most of the issues we had, there was, when we first rolled out home upgrade a while back, there was a little bit of delay in processing because they've got some IT systems that need to talk to each other, and it took a little while to resolve some of the issues. But things are moving smoothly now. 6 to 8 weeks is, in most cases, pretty good, but it's possible it could take longer. So, letting the client know that up front is like, the 6 to 8 weeks is not a guarantee of when the rebate will come. It is a highly likely window in which it will come. It could come faster. We've seen that happen. But there are some rare cases where it will take longer. Bring those retention as soon as possible, because that might mean there's some IT glitch that got the thing stuck. They happen. We've got reasonably high volume in many areas, and and a 1 or a 0 might get misplaced in the computer somewhere, and something gets delayed. So as soon as you know, let us know.
Well, that's it. Okay, Torsten, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks, everyone. Oh, and as Rebecca, volunteered to put together a spreadsheet comparing.
You want to compete?
No, we'll collaborate on putting something out that helps clarify, where you can use what program, how you can use it. We'll put the beautiful slides together, and unfortunately, there's a few things that are out of date already, so that's my fault entirely. But we'll get something out that's revised for that soon too, because the windows that we're showing with 0 points, they're actually 0.6.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Torsten. All right, next up we got Mo.
So hi everyone, I know most of you. My name is Mo. I'm here to give you some feedbacks about quality control and the findings you can find out there in the field of applications. So this is pretty shocking. Actually, you should see that the contractor forgot to connect the exhaust to the furnace. This is a pretty serious mistake. This could kill somebody actually in the home, which actually did last March. And I don't know if you guys heard that in Lake Tahoe, where a contractor actually tried to cut corners. They ended up killing both homeowners. And now they are being charged with involuntary manslaughter.
Was he paid before that happened or after?
Was he paid?
Never mind.
So that's pretty much it. So one thing, it's not required by the code that you actually have the intake taken out of the combustion appliance zone. We prefer to see the intake running all the way to the outside. This is not a code, it's not required, but it's really best practice to have also the intake running all the way to the outside. versus having a second air out of the combustion appliance zone, which could cause so many things, including backdrafting or depressurizing your home. Missing insulation. So this knee wall is part of the attic upgrade. It needs to be insulated to R19 and the attic to R38. We've been singing that song for a long time now. And I still see this happening in the field. Same thing here. Attic knee wall is not insulated. So please insulate me to R19. This is an interesting job, actually. This contractor thought he was doing something good. So installing a radiant barrier could cause, would track moisture, would compress the attic insulation, and would cause also a safety hazard if anyone were to go up in the attic and try to fix whatever needs to be fixed. So we stop the heat at its source. We install the vapor barrier in the ceiling, not on top of the attic insulation. Here's some more missing insulation. This is not a garage, so this is part of the attic, and it has not been insulated. So please make sure to check after your installers to make sure that they do a good job. We still find this fire clearance. Whenever you install new insulation and you have a pipe, whether it's single wall or V-vent or even a masonry chimney, you have to have, for V-vent is 1 inch clearance, masonry chimney 3 inches, and single wall 6 inches. In this case, it would be 6 inches.
Question. If it's wrapped with rock wool, would that be all right? Just still tight against rock wool insulation?
Yeah.
If you wrap that with rock wool insulation,
you still have to keep that clearance.
You still have to keep the clearance, even though it's cantilevered.
Yes. Ductwork. So 3 main things to remember about ducts. The best ductwork is duct that is deep, that is short, straight, and deep buried. This creates restriction of the airflow and friction loss as well. So short, straight, and deep buried is the best ductwork. This is interesting. Someone installed the supply register, and so there's a stud here. So this creates also a problem for the efficiency of the furnace, the airflow restriction, and comfort, as well as you're losing money when you have all this restriction. Gas line not capped. This doesn't happen so often now. This is probably the only one I verified for the last 6 months since we had that last meeting. So please make sure to cap the gas line or have GSR or PG&E come and cap it for you.
Does that mean that was just blowing out gas?
Yeah.
You went into a house and that's what the thing was just blowing out gas?
This is crosswise. Yeah. Sure. So you would think this doesn't happen, but yeah. Dirty filters. This was a job where the furnace was changed out. I went there, I think 10 days after, and look at the filter. It was not changed. This was not changed. And the 373 gas line also needs to be changed. Even if you do not touch the furnace or the water heater, if it's not part of the work scope and you see 1973, there's going to be a corrective action for this if you don't change it. So you better let your customers know that they need to replace that. Some restriction here. This is a CAS, this is a combustion appliance zone with natural draft. and you see the insulation is plugging all the CDA, combustion ventilation air. So there's no air coming in through the CDA, so it's sucking air all out of the main body, out of the home. So this should not happen again. This should be damped so that the insulation doesn't plug the registers. Okay, when you see spillage, I've seen some cases where contractors reported spillage, but they didn't fix it. If you cannot fix the spillage, you are required to call GSR and have them come and try to fix it, or they will shut it off. So you are responsible to call GSR in those cases as well, even if you're not going to be upgrading the appliances. This is a draft test, and it was uncapped. It was left uncapped like that, and that's also not acceptable. That should be sealed with something that works better than just the state cap. Yeah. Again, this is fire clearance. So this is single wall, 6 inches clearance. This contractor was thinking that he was doing a good job sealing this CDA, combustion ventilation air. This here was a furnace, induced furnace, and natural draft water heater. So obviously there's no air for them to, so they could combust the gas. So they were sucking air out of the house. So CVA should never be sealed. And fireplaces, it's always good to test fireplaces when you do your worst case. If you have any carbon monoxide level, if it's 1, I would call GSR and have them come and check it out. If you cannot fix it, call GSR. Another one is the pipe for the induced draft. Needs to have 3 screws in for each connection. So 3 screws for each connection. Even if it's not part of the work scope, we do not want to have to write you corrective action to have you go back and fix it. So this needs to have 3 screws. And who cannot put 3 screws in here? At least tell your homeowners and write it in your report. Gas leak, same thing. Please make sure that you install it to whoever is doing the audits for you to really take the time to test for gas leakage. So per BPI, Building Performance Institute, so you run your gas slivers 1 inch per second. So take your time to test for gas leakage. Usually when you just run it as fast as you can, you're obviously it's not gonna detect it easily. So you do want to take your time.
That's an immediate fail, right?
Yeah.
So you guys do everything else right, but you forget to tighten that thing or check it. It's an immediate fail on verification. So it's a quick thing to fix, but you have to send a crew back to fix it after you.
And that costs you money. That costs you money too. So it's better to do your job in the first place. We can skip this one, we talked about it. Communication issue. So there is a CVA here, where the natural water heater is, but the contractor forgot to seal the CAS door. So there should be no communication between any CAS, combustion appliance zone, and the main body. Same thing here. No communication between the main body, which is your home or living space, and the CAS zone. And so we also wear our test center. So any of you who needs to recertify for the BPI, you could call us, call me, and I could walk you through the process. And we do also project exams for BPI recertification or getting the BPI certification in the first place.
Remember, it is required to be a SMUD listed home performance contractor, somebody on staff has to have a valid BPI certification. So please, when you go back, verify that that's still up to date, and contractors have been removed.
What's the total cost of that? For what? What is that? So it costs you for both?
Yeah.
So it would be $300 application that you fill out and send to BPI. And then we're talking about written exams. It depends how many CEUs credits you have, if you have any. So you can take 50 questions, you can take 100 questions, and you can take none. It depends how many credit units you have. But if you were to come and I would talk to you in our office, it would cost you $300 per exam. And if I were to come to you, it would be $550. Any other questions?
Remember, Mo is more than willing to come out and mentor your crews. He wants the work to be done right the first time, and he will. I pay him to come out and do that for you. As many guys as you want to have out there to meet with him, please take advantage of Mo. He definitely knows what he's talking about, and he can save you a lot of money and a lot of time.
Exactly. And when we select jobs for verification, I would be more than happy to have someone join me for the verification. Not just to make sure that we do the walkthrough, but also to make sure that our appliances match. So you're testing like the blower door or the gut blaster, that we make sure that it's calibrated and we have the same result numbers.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Mo. Appreciate it. Nice pictures. Okay, Chris is up again for a brief moment.
Yeah, thanks.
You want a presentation?
No. Well, I just wanted to make a quick closing remark, and to do so, I'm going to put on my Efficiency First California hat. As many of you may know, in addition to working with the SMUD program, we're also a nonprofit trade association for home performance contractors. And it's programs like the SMUD program and contractors like you that are essential to building an industry. And right now we're in the beginning stages, and everyone in this room is a pioneer in building a new kind of construction industry that really has a lot going for it right now, because home performance is critical to solving environmental problems relating to state policy around climate change, as well as a mechanism for revitalizing our economy. There's a lot of value and opportunity, as you know, for homeowners to make these kinds of improvements, and it's you folks who are educating them and helping them make take that step and add that value to their property and improve the quality of their life living in that property, and then helping society in general through the greenhouse gas reductions and the economic activities. So I just wanted to put in context that this program and your efforts are vitally important to a movement in construction and in energy efficiency that is very important in many, many ways. And finally, I just want to say we have some extra handouts at the back. So if you want to take packets back to your folks at the office or your crew leaders or whatever, please do. And before we adjourn completely, I'd like to hand the floor over to Ori Skloot, the Executive Director of Efficiency First California, who wanted to have a moment to address you and share some thoughts.
Thanks, Chris. So I wasn't planning on talking, but just during this presentation, which I thought was great, I couldn't help myself. I just wanted to give you guys a few pointers. So I'm not wearing my Efficiency First hat for the moment. I'm wearing my hat as a contractor. So me and my company's Advanced Home Energy, we do work in the Bay Area exclusively. So we're not up in SMUD territory. And I'm just looking at these and I'm salivating. I wish we had access to this stuff. So we do about 10 home performance projects a week, and those aren't just HVAC. We do the whole home performance deal. So we do a fairly large number. And some of the issues you guys are having,
I'm not quite clear why you guys are having, from contractor to contractor. I heard like something just jumped out to like $800 to go in and do an audit. That's way high. I'm not paying that much. I'm talking between $250 and $300 to do an audit. And I am stoked when someone calls me up for an audit, because we close our audits at about $16,000 average job size. When we go out for an assessment, we close around $7,500. So for me, it's a no-brainer. Someone comes up for an audit, and you got to get $150 back, which we're not getting. So I'm just, from a contractor's perspective, there's some disconnect going on. Even when Jim was saying, God, I should set up a little office up here myself and start rolling trucks from up here. This is a really valuable program. Not to mention the fact that you can do both programs and everything together. So I know it's been said before that Mo's available and Efficiency First available, and they really are, and I think it's a great team. But also, I'm not sure what time we're supposed to end. I'm happy to sit around and for a few minutes, shoot it informally and offer myself as a resource to what you guys need to do to make things a little easier on yourself, because you guys are killing this. And I'm serious. If you're not, then I should talk about us coming up here and working with you guys or something, because this is should be a very lucrative program. And I get it. It's a pain in the ass. It's hard. Sure, it's just the same for us down in our territory as it is for you guys. And I actually know PG is great, but I'm amazed at how quickly SMUD can actually pivot and the team pivots. So the fact that we're getting this kind of stuff coming down the pipeline is pretty amazing. So I don't know how much time you guys do want to try.
We're
10 minutes.
3-4 more hours already.
Oh. I don't need a survey. Let me I'll open up for a couple questions publicly here if you guys have any. And I'm happy to stick around for another 10 minutes afterwards to answer any questions on the side.
When you do a home audit, whole house audit,
yeah.
How long do you do it?
So the usual, depends on the size of the house, right? But 3 to 4 hours, they're on site, and we close on the spot. So if you don't have a system or software or whatever you need to close on the spot, I encourage you to figure that out or talk to me. That right there was a huge bump up in our close rates.
So you're selling a home performance upgrade on the spot?
We're selling $30,000 packages on the spot.
Yeah. So you don't have a delay where another salesman has to come out and
for all
technicians.
Now we try. We can't always do that. If you're with a one legger, you can't always do that. But 20% of the time we close on the spot.
You can't use an Energy Pro.
No, we're using. I mean, I don't use Energy Pro to make my proposal. We have our own means of making a proposal, but we have to use Energy Pro on the spot. We're doing Energy Pro. We're doing CAS testing. We're putting all the photos and everything into our software, pumping out a report, sitting down, showing packages, and asking them to sign. 20% of the time they sign.
And you're selling 10 a week?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and I just want to say the new software program that Torsten talked about, where there will be new software packages, Ori has a proprietary system that he's put together for his company, but these new software tools will give other companies better resources that might, enable you to have the same kind of capacity.
Yeah, and again, I really wouldn't hold your breath for those tools. I mean, they're saying August, and someone said back, they didn't expect it last year. It's true. Who knows? And that's true. My proposal software, proprietary proposal software, which has helped a lot, it's basically an Excel document on steroids. Like, it's nothing terribly fancy that you guys can't develop yourself.
So I'm guessing you got some good financial backing for financial projects?
We bootstrapped this. It's my cousin and I. We're the owners of the company. We bootstrapped the whole thing. Financing is painful for us. So our cash flow, just like you guys, is really difficult. We have a lot.
But I'm saying your clients are people who are decision makers that have the potential to spend $30,000.
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, for the ones that close, and we do all the same things you guys probably do. We try to get 2 legs in there and everything. But I'd say if there's one difference that's in our advantage is I'm in the Bay Area where people can plop down $30K.
That is true.
But guys, you're in. I see the weather up here, and I'm always sorry.
For video purposes.
But I'm a mover, Jim.
You can move to this.
We're constantly dealing with having a temperate climate zone, right? Where right now I'm in a slow season for us. If you guys, I see those numbers. I don't see why you wouldn't be killing it. So, all right, I got folks with bucks. You guys got climate. Let's call it a wash.
Take a look at this map. It's a map of where all the rich people are.
Yes, it's in your packet.
It's not bad or un-PC to acknowledge who your audience is.
I don't want you all to like start bum rushing the same thing and knocking on the same doors. But I look at this map and I look at where there's the biggest overlap. This spot right here is a freaking gold mine. Which spot is it?
You should walk
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with your area. It's got all the right elements overlapped.
A lot of
good investment. Hire 2 guys to go knock on doors.
You're not allowed to trail.
Sorry, I don't know what they're.
You can go undercover and do mic tasting.
Yes.
Do you do the whole Bay Area? Are you on the peninsula? Where are you?
We're looking at the East Bay. We do the whole Bay Area.
But where are you now?
My office is located in Richmond, right on the Berkeley border.
Oh, so you're up north.
So we're up there. We do serve the whole Bay Area. We try not to, and we get pulled into the peninsula like a schmuck. I start salivating at those jobs, and I always regret doing them.
What?
Just because it's such a huge drive time. From us to the peninsula, like 2.5-hour drive time.
So you like to be up in Marin?
Yeah, so we do Marin and East Bay. There's plenty of work in my little area.
Maybe we should set up shop in your neighborhood and give you some competition. I'll trade hot days for money any old day.
Yeah, so I don't know, but you guys also have an awesome financing package. PACE is coming online real soon. And you're already doing the work, right? I mean, you're already doing this, if I understand correctly. Are the majority of people in here HVAC contractors? Yeah. Okay. So we're not talking about you guys changing your business model, right? It's that change of getting from HVAC to larger projects. And if you probably should be partnered up with an insulation contractor if you're not already, or get a little truck and start small and do it in-house. These things are super inexpensive. A Force 3s. A Force 3 unit will cost you $7,000. If you're buying from service partners, they'll give you the thing for free if you commit to buying your product from them. I can train one of your guys up in 3 hours to use the product. It's not hard.
Question, like how many crews are you thinking to support 10 jobs a week?
We're a 45-person company.
45%.
Yeah. So anyways, I don't want to hog any time here, but I just really want to, I want to pump you guys up and say this is, when you hear it, I think, from a program implementer that we're in the right industry and we can do this, that's one thing. But I'm telling you now from contractor, you guys are in a sweet spot, and I would capitalize on it before that opportunity really does pass. I don't know how long Jim's going to be putting these kind of rebates, but you can get up to what, 9K rebate if you do both?
If you do an electric house, we can give $8,000 from SMUD alone. And then if we do a PG&E SMUD, we give up to 5, and they give up to what, 40? Well, they're moving up to 65, that's my understanding. So it's 11.5.
Right. So we're talking ARA dollar days, right? When just things were whew. So I don't think this is going to be last forever, and I've heard a lot of complaining about, being in my position fixing first, and also the contract. I know how hard it is, but I think now's the time to pounce. You got to believe it. So I won't take up any more time, but also stick around here if you guys want to ask more specific questions.
Okay, Lori, thank you. I think that was very valuable to hear it from the real horse's mouth, so to speak. What are you saying? Yeah. So anyways, what I want to leave you with is, again, thanks for coming. As I've said time and time again, this program is because of you guys and your willingness to participate, willingness to make the deals, willingness to hire the crews, and do what you got to do, buy the $7,000 truck. That's what keeps this thing going. And if it dies on the vine, if you guys aren't out there, really doing some money on your own for advertising, doing things to actually generate these leads, this program could die. I don't think so. Nobody's talking about it. But that year of 2012, where I only did 129 jobs, it was very difficult for Jim to justify his manager leadership role on home performance. Last year when it was 474, I was the hero. This year I'm not a hero. I like being a hero. Make me a hero. Okay, so how many we enter, Jim? Sorry.
Sure. How many?
We have 179 complete and in-process projects at this point right now. Last year, about the same time, we did 225. So we're running low. I've already reduced my estimate of what I think we're going to do. I'm hoping we can finish 300 homes This year, 325 would be better. Okay, so please do whatever you can. I know you guys will make a lot of money doing this if you play your cards right. And all I ask is that you have your sales forces educated in what this program is all about so that they say the right things at the right time so that the customers, the